Joined by a fine fellow today, Mr. Ian Ramey Rogers. Welcome.
Hi, Steve.
How are you doing? So we are going to talk about all things neurodiversity.
Yep.
And let's be clear right from the start, we're not approaching this as a sort of subject matter expert that's studied it at university. We're actually talking, in your case, Ian, as somebody who's lived with it for all your life, I guess. Yeah.
All my life. Only discovered, I was diagnosed about a year and a half ago.
And you're how old, sorry?
I'm now 50.
50, yeah.
So I was 48 and a half. So to have lived 48 years not known was quite an experience to then relive that all again under the understanding of what my label was now.
Yes.
It's been quite interesting the last year and a half.
So before we sort of get into it, because there's so many areas we can cover, obviously, just neurodiversity as a general subject has been around for many years, but actually seems to have come to the fore, certainly in terms of corporate life, in the last maybe 3 to 5 years, something like that, possibly?
Quite possibly. I've certainly noticed over the last year and a half, 2 years, I had a sort of inkling about 2 years ago, which is why I sort of started to pursue it, maybe a wee bit before that. And when I started to look at it, it felt from that point until now, it's just really blown up.
Yes.
There's a lot more interest in it. The Royals getting involved in it. Sending people for autism assessments and whatnot has probably flooded the system.
Yes.
Somewhat, making it even more difficult for people who really do need the help to get the help they need. So, there's good and bad, I suppose, from that.
Yes, yeah. And by neurodiversity, we're talking about anything from autism, ADHD, Tourette's. Yeah, they're the sort of fairly standard.
I would have thought so.
Things, aren't there? But I guess there's a whole other series of things. Yeah. But if we focus in on perhaps on those mainly, that would probably be the best thing. Yeah. Those will be here for decades. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you said a year and a half ago you got sort of labelled or diagnosed. Which condition?
I am autistic.
Right, okay.
I was advised that I also had Tourette's and ADD without the hyperactivity.
Okay.
I never went for any of those assessments because the autism assessment itself, the process was pretty brutal. It was very long. You feel that nobody believes you. Right,
you've got to prove that you're...
It's a difficult wrestle with an awful lot of different moving parts. To go from your GP through psychiatry, and then eventually you get to someone that will assess you, and then that goes then to psychiatrists again, a group of them, and you get rubber stamped. I didn't want to do the ADHD or ADD test. I done the online bit for it. I got a bit from the doctors as well, because I reckoned that with me finding out I was autistic, that answered enough questions.
Yes.
From all the silly wee things that happened throughout my life, or traumatic things, to be honest with you, that I would remember back thinking, why did you do that? Why did you act that way? Why did you say that? And I just felt that all that I would achieve from the ADD or ADHD assessment was that I would be prescribed drugs.
Yes.
You can't get prescribed anything for autism or Tourette's.
That's really interesting. There's no medication for...
There's no medication for autism. Neurodivergence, or neurodiversity in general, the one thing that interests me mostly was that there are two types of brains, the neurotypical brain and the neurodivergent brain, they say. But in actual fact, it's an autistic brain and a non-autistic brain. An autistic brain means that your neuroreceptors don't stop growing when you get to about sort of 27, 28, which means there are more neuroconnectors. I get right into the science here straight away, it means you... So if you think of like grapes and the stems coming off grapes with all the little grapes at the end of it, the autistic brain doesn't clean up the mess, if you like, so it allows the stems to keep growing. So there's more grapes, which means there's more grapes that can touch the other grapes. So there's more connections, which is why people with autism make connections that other people wouldn't make. And not because they're smarter, just because there are more things touching each other, so you're going, there's more doors open. So you've either got an autistic brain or a non-autistic brain. And with a non-autistic brain, you can still have Tourette's, you can still have ADHD,
Right.
but you wouldn't be counted as neurotypical because you think differently.
Yes. Yeah.
Your brain operates differently. So that was quite difficult to get my head round.
Yeah.
You know, and again, I just put down impulsivity, down to the Tourette's that they told me, but there's a lot of crossovers and things like that, which again, I'm maybe not the right guy to go into all of the details about that.
Very complex science, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Very, you know.
Can I just sort of almost like, I want to focus on autism mainly because that's what you've identified or has been identified. Just sort of cover off on the Tourette's. Was that a classic sort of John Davidson swearing type Tourette's, or was it?
Well, Tourette's, I believe, is stigmatised with swearing.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily that.
Got you. Yeah.
So being impulsive, having to say something, it doesn't necessarily need to be rude or swearing or aggressive, as it would appear to be with John. But just having to finish something off, having to get it done, not being able to hold your whisht.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? There's this overwhelming urge to, nope, I need to say this. And that might just be a point. I was identified as being pedantic.
Okay, interesting.
So, you know, but I think, I don't know if that's an autism trait or something to do with Tourette's, but overbearing, you know, it's like, no, you don't get what I mean. I need you to understand what I mean.
Yes.
So,
right.
And reactiveness as well is a very key thing. So lashing out, unfortunately, which would bring us to where we all are now, you know, and maybe give some guys a better understanding of why they react to things without thinking it through and taking a little minute, and because your brain doesn't let you.
No, it's
very easy for everyone to say, why don't you just not do that? Well, if only our brains would let us do that. And through practice and understanding, I think everyone can achieve a better level of control over themselves. I certainly have. Once I understood what autism was, and they say if you've met one autistic person, that's all you've met, because everyone's different.
Yeah, of course.
And it's not a spectrum like how much autism you have.
Yeah, what is that whole spectrum thing?
Autism for me is a lifetime extreme. 100 bang, 0, so few in between. A spectrum, we're told, where we'll never feel old, maybe never grow old. Average lifespan 54. What? Really? Eh? Can I hand this back? Pretty please, make a claim. Have I been missold? Because the second top reason that autistic adults will be leaving, inevitably, this plane of existence with little inward reprieve, a total lack of resistance, is to check out, break free, with a neck snap, crack, bang, with a splatter or a batter. Just a wee whoopsie. Simple and easy. Not nice to think about, eh? But so what? Is it wrong to talk about? Flesh it out? Without frown, without pout? Maybe help a brother out? Put the phone down, ponder with me, come and see my successes, my fails, push through hard times, doing hard labour, keep laying down them rails. I made the watch list, I'm playing a watch kid, always troubled, it's not much fun, but still I'm laughing, only on the inside, no longer pleasing all the anyones. It's partly programming, from the daymares, schools, teachers, the bullies and the worms. Feeding freely, openly seeding, begin the reading. Prick the brain, eternal thorns. Negative feelings find struggled healings. Broken, different, just a sensitive wee soul. Now almost 50, crunch the numbers. Leaves maybe 4 years to live life left freely serving others. Autistic reality goal. Be alright, every night, sleeping tight, faithfully into each fight. God's the source of all light, eternally set to shine brighter than bright. A lot of people seem to think it's, they say you're high functioning, you're low functioning, you're severely autistic. My psychiatric, for the forensic psychiatrist report, said I'm severely autistic. Right. Now people would think that means I'm sitting in the corner slavering, rocking backwards and forwards, and that's not the case. It's just how much or how little, I suppose, your brain is confused. Yes. In certain situations, certainly to do with social anxiety. Yes. How to react. Yeah. Yeah. Normally. Yes. In inverted commas. Yeah. But as far as I'm aware, the spectrum it's a spectrum from left to right, and you're just somewhere on it. The symbol for autism is a figure of 8. Okay. And it's like anywhere around there is where you are. But it annoys me a lot of the time when I hear people saying that.
Because it's something I've never even seen a picture of the spectrum. I don't know what the spectrum is, and yet I've got a vague notion that it's probably to do with functioning. Yeah.
Well, people will say to you quite often, I suppose we're all on the spectrum a wee bit, aren't we? And, well, no, we're not. No, we're not, no. And I'm beyond that, I'm insulted by that. Yeah. It's not about that. And as you said, I think because autism, especially, has become... It's accelerated. It's such a phenomenal rate that nowadays, I think the last time I checked, it was like you could be waiting 8 years to get an assessment. Yeah. That's an awful long time.
It is, actually.
And as an adult as well, there's not really much help out there for you. There's very little support. If you have a child who's autistic, then there's more chance of you getting an assessment. Because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Okay.
So it is
it's genetic.
Genetic, yeah.
There are, I think there's something like 99% genetics, because they're not going to rule out miracles and things like that. Yeah. But it's genetic. Yeah. It's certainly not from any paracetamol.
No.
That a certain president would have you believe. Bizarre. For whatever reason that was.
And then ADD, so taking out the hyperactivity, what does that leave in ADD? What is it?
Attention deficit disorder. And it's just, look, there's a butterfly.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Where? Exactly. Yes. It's just not having the ability to hold your attention on something.
So is it true to say that most people struggle with attention, but this is another level of...
Quite possibly.
I mean, I'm renowned for it at home. If I'm in a recording session with my music partner, then and I'll suddenly see something on the computer, like, look at that, Chris Rea's died or whatever, and it's like, is
that might annoy the person.
It annoys him because he's very focused. He's a project manager.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
So it's much more extreme than that. It's kind of actually, you really can't concentrate on anything.
Well, you either can't concentrate, or it's the only thing you can concentrate on. So if you were to get, and it's very difficult for me to differentiate between, what am I? Because I've only been diagnosed as autistic. Yes, yeah. So I'm either right into something or not into it at all. Yeah. And you couldn't pay me to do it. I've got zero interest in it. But with attention, the attention deficit disorder side of it, you could be into something, but constantly being distracted, or your mind just not being able to focus in and stay on that. But with autism, if I get my teeth into something, I could be there for 10 hours straight. Yeah, yeah. And quite often, autistic people, you'll forget to eat.
Yes.
You'll be forgetting to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
All sorts of stuff, and that sounds silly, but you're holding it in.
Yeah.
Because
So
you're so focused, it's hyper focused.
Yeah.
But you see, especially some boys in the prison, you see some boys that look off their rocker. You know, they've got the H as well. They are hyperactive, and they just cannot sit down. So if you look at them and you see how frustrating that must be to themselves, that's how their brain's going as well.
Yeah.
You know, so we're very quick to laugh at people and put them down and whatnot. And I had no clue about what autism was up until, 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago, when I started looking into it.
Yeah. And
then when you learn a little bit about it, it opens up a lot more about yourself and all the whys and all the reasons and why nobody phoned you back or why you got left at the end of the road and your pals never picked you up and why you would be like a certain way with one person but you'd be a different way with another person because it's a very chameleon-like thing because you don't know how to be. Yeah. You don't have the social awareness.
Typical behaviour.
And through school I was very much aware of that. To be honest with you, I'm a Christian, as you know, and I had really put it down to the fact that I was a Christian, that I believed in Jesus,
so therefore you were different.
That I was under spiritual attack most of my life, and which I have been anyway. But I told that to the psychiatrist, and they didn't bat an eyelid about it. Made a few notes, but that was about it. But that's what I put that down to. When in actual fact, now when I look back and I think about the times that. I remember one time I fell over in the ice skating, and I didn't hurt myself, but I must have been about 14 or something like that. But it must have been like, the level of embarrassment or upset or whatever it was just caused me to freeze up. And I literally, I was lying on the ice freezing anyway, but just freeze up. And I remember the guard coming along, the guy skating along, just scooping me up, and that was a shutdown. But I never realised that at the time, and I couldn't get myself out of it. So it's like it's almost like a fit, but you're not fitting. So I now look back and I pinpoint these things.
So I mean, obviously we're not going to go back into your childhood and explore it all.
No chance of life.
But in terms of when you were a 7-year-old, 9-year-old, what was your sort of school life like? Were you taken out and put in a special school or anything like that?
No, none of that. Because I was brought up in a church. In quite a large, sort of friendly environment. You were thrown into the deep end. It was sink or swim, and that's all it was about it. And my desire to succeed and to be accepted, I was always quite a funny wee guy. I used humour as a defence mechanism. So I was accepted a lot more because I was quite funny. And I just rode off the back of that for a long, long time. I was not exceptionally clever, I wouldn't have thought, at school. I never applied myself, but I was always asking questions. And so and that was actually one of the things that highlighted that I was autistic, the fact that my report card that we still had, my sister had one of them for some reason, and it said that I asked a lot of questions. I never shut up. I was always, tell me more.
Right,
and that's one of the things about autism. I was saying to you earlier on, if you ask me a question, I'll probably say to you, what do you mean by that? Be more specific. Because my brain's going, right,
all these possible
all these boxes.
Narrow
it down, and then I'll be able to give you the answer. But that becomes annoying to people, because neurotypical brains would understand through social cues, through eye contact, through facial muscles moving, and autistic people don't recognise any of their things. Which is why you'll see autistic people staring at your face and staring up and down you.
Because I've heard that somebody said I don't understand verbal cues, so I stuck sort of 2 fingers up on my head, as a joke of sort of just breaking the ice. I knew the person quite well. I know the person quite well, and I thought it was quite funny, because I was thinking, do you mean you can't work out that 2 fingers rubbing on my head means F off type thing? Which I thought was quite a good sort of thing. And she just looked at me, stared at me, and said, I don't know what you're doing. And I was like,
are you being funny?
Are you
not being funny?
Yes, So what does it mean by verbal cues? Could you put it into words? It's maybe a hard one.
Probably it would be more accurate to say non-verbal cues, because...
Sorry, non-verbal cues.
Non-verbal cues, because subtleties, like... if two people are sitting chatting, when and a third person comes along, like two people, they might, just make a wee facial expression, or there might just be an emotional feel in the energy between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And autistic people can't pick up on those things.
Right, yeah.
That's very annoying, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're trying to chat birds up.
Yes.
Because you're not picking up on the fact that you're in,
Yes.
or you're definitely not in. I don't know which one's. I don't know which one's worse.
How many days can I tell you to fuck off?
Exactly. That's exactly right. And then you'll leave that situation thinking, "What the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah.
Why am I repelling these women?
I don't fancy you. So what are you actually trying to say?
Well, exactly.
I don't fancy you. I know, but what do you actually mean?
It's exactly that. Whereas two neurotypical people
Yeah.
can be facing each other,
Yes.
and they give each other the eye, and all of a sudden that's it.
Yes. Yeah.
They're off skate together.
Yeah.
Whereas autistic people, certainly in my experience, more than often don't get these little things out.
Right. Okay.
And don't get the folk eventually say to you, "Shut up, will you?
Yeah,
Stop talking," because you're digging a hole for yourself, or you're drawing everyone into the same pit, and everyone's trying to keep stum about something, and you're the first person. I remember, stupid things like, when I worked at Bifab building oil rigs up in Fife, and there was a big lad there, and he was a scaffolder, and he was walking with a limp one day, and of course his name was Ray. I was like, "Oh, Big Ray, what's wrong? You got a stain in your foot, eh?" And he was like, "I've got cancer." Eh? And I was like, oh, just swallow me up now. Do you know what I mean? You just see something and you say it.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's funny, so you say it. JP's nodding because you know exactly what I mean. You see it and you say it, and there's nobody in the brain to go, maybe better take a rain check on that. Maybe let's investigate that a little bit more before we open our mouth here. So you find yourself a lot of the time just going, "Oh my goodness." It's so that, there's a lot.
Sometimes I'm as surprised that what comes out of my mouth is the person I'm saying it to.
There you go.
Sometimes when I go, and when it's funny, it's fucking funny.
Aye.
But when you add alcohol and cocaine into that occasion, man, it's, what the fuck did you say there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. And it's funny you mention alcohol and cocaine and whatnot, because
it's a Christmas party, so
it's a Christmas party. The desire for a lot of people, and especially women, to drink, because it then relaxes them. Weed helped me. There's no doubt about it, because the anxiety constantly of going, "What is wrong with you? Why are you repelling so many people 1 minute and then drawing crowds of people?" As you say, JP, when you're on, you're making folk laugh. You can't stop making them laugh. But people will turn to drink and drugs because it's almost like it brings everything down a little bit. So my awareness, hypersensitive, if you like the sixth sense, and it really literally is that. You're understanding your spidey sense, and you just know things are no wrong. Something's going to go wrong. That's about to happen. The amount of people I've pulled for walking out in front of buses and stuff like that, frightening. Because but it's only because all your senses are aware, and you're not aware. Mm-hmm. You're not even aware of it. You just all of a sudden know this is going to hit somebody in the head or whatever, and you can intervene, but you can't live at that level of hypersensitivity, hypervigilance. You can't live like that forever, because you implode. Which is why people turn to drink and drunks.
Particularly in this jail. See, sometimes when you're in the visit room and there's loads of emotion going about. So maybe there's anger there. Maybe there's an arsehole screw there being overzealous with
kids running by.
They're screaming. Sometimes I actually need to leave the visit room. Then
other
times I sit up there and they can be total chaos and I'm calm as ever. But other times I feel as if I'm a big emotional sponge and I feel every single
too much
bad look or happiness or even sadness or whatever. No, and I'm just like my sister. "What? You alright?" And I'm like, something's happening, like fucking aware in the corner, and that. It's as if they're right there doing that. And I'm like, I need to leave, man. No.
Quite often in the visit room, I'll see like my mum and my sisters looking all about them, and I'm talking to them, and it's so distracting because I'm thinking, what are you looking at? What's going on? And then a kid will run by, and I'm thinking to myself, look at me when you're talking to me. But other people can do that. They can do that. They can be looking away at things and talking to you, but I need to be.
Look at me when you're talking.
That's
to me.
right. Concentrate on me, because I'm concentrating on you.
Selfish prick when you're doing it. Like, you're listening to me. I used to do it with Buster all the time. I'd be like, you're not even listening to a word I'm saying. And what did you say to that? And he would repeat word for word everything I said in the last 2 minutes. But he could be writing something and having another conversation with somebody else, and also listen to me. And I think that's like a superpower.
For
Buster, no?
For me, especially, I mean, I fell apart when I got my diagnosis. I mean, I literally fell apart, and a lot of the time they say it as like, it's like a death. You know, you're mourning part of yourself because you're going, so what, have I just lived a life as a liar?
Yeah.
Am I not who I am? What's going on? So you're going through all of that.
Yeah.
But when I'm really concentrating, I'll probably not look at your eyes. I'll not look at you in the face. And most people think you're being ignorant, but you're not. You're actually being so attentive, and you're really focusing, because if you're looking and other things are going on, you're going, what's that guy? Is that guy going to punch me? Is that guy? Is he going to do this? Is what's happening? You're constant, but I can't look in your eyes all the time. If I don't know you, I'm not looking in your eyes for ages.
Right.
I won't look in your eyes. Like when I was getting a forensic psychiatrist, one of the actual boys told me to look at someone's ear.
Yes,
but I kind of try and look at their so it looks as if you're looking at that. But then I still think they'll be able to see that I'm not exactly looking at it, because I can tell. So surely they can tell. But for all these years, I just thought everyone thought the same as me. So all of a sudden, to realise that that's not the case, you do start to think, well,
I do that
is this
sometimes.
a superpower? What's going on here?
I do that sometimes. Like, I can't look at somebody in the eye, right? And I think it's because sometimes, because I've never ever thought I was autistic or a fucking ADHD, or I think I've clearly got post-traumatic stress disorder and probably a bit of autism and all, but see the looking in the eye thing, right? This is the way I used to kind of explain it to myself, right? So I would say, like, I'm not like tuned into somebody's emotions, right?
Yep.
Like, I can tell what you're thinking, even if you're really good at hiding it, no? And I'm looking for every micro expression, right? I don't want to do it, but I'm looking at it. So if I'm listening to you and I know you're bored, right, and you're like, I wish you'd shut the fuck up, then I'll continue to talk, not just to annoy you.
Because you'll pick it up,
see if I see you maybe getting sad, or if somebody's empathising with me, I think we're right into it, no? I get the cues right away, and I'm like, but that's distracting for me. So see if I see you and I'm telling you something that's really moving, and you get I start thinking, well, this is upsetting that person, or whatever else, no? And I'm like, stop talking about this, or continue to talk, and it's like fucking two cunts talking.
Do you think, JP, that you
honestly,
can?
It's weird, isn't it?
Do you
think no there all the time?
Do you think you can pinpoint? That's what I was going to ask, because I find myself feeling all of that, and I don't want to look in somebody's eyes because I feel like I can see right into them.
Sometimes I can see their soul.
I didn't want to say that, but
no,
that's exactly
it. Seriously,
it's like you are, you can really. It's so difficult to put into words. Autism's a communication disorder. Do you know what I mean? So to try and put things. How are you feeling today? I don't know. But to look in someone's eyes, sometimes there's a flash of darkness I see, and I don't want to see it.
Eyes, I swear I can see your soul.
I can see your soul, and that's true. And I think maybe that's got a lot to do with it.
I think two people that love each other can, if they truly love each other, they can see their soul.
Yeah. But once you get to know someone and know that they're not going to harm you, know that they want the best for you, there's no threat, it becomes a lot more easy to make that eye contact, especially as you get older, because you've lived a life. You know, my dad used to always say to me, shake, that's what that poem, shake firm contact, make eye contact, you know, hit back when hit first. You know, these are the rules for life.
The attack started early, and I don't mean the fits, the shutdowns and meltdowns, the shakings, the pits. But beside that, the onslaught, not physical, unseen. The attack started early, and life seemed so mean. relentless oppression from a dark spiritual being. A young lad alone, not so sure what I'm seeing. Feeling all sorts, all round me, all on me, all times. Excruciatingly distressing, hiding silent youthful whines. I believed not a shadow, it was warfare no doubt. Who would listen or believe me without sneer, without pout? Make eye contact, shake firm contact, hit back when hit first. Give everyone water, don't allow folks to thirst. Offer women a seat on the bus or the train. Be careful in love, she might drive you insane. Rules for life, get the job, get the wife, seek no strife. Rules for life, rules your life, then comes strife. C'est la vie, such as life. Observing behaviour, a lifetime for what? For me to fit in, or get by, chances not. To blend unsuspecting, to go with the flow. To know that I'm different, try hard not to show. What I am, what's in me, love yearning to grow. I'm autistic, I'm a Christian, double blessed, would you even know?
So these things are programmed into you. So, and as a salesman, as a young man, when I used to chap doors, it was all about eye contact.
Of course, yeah.
So I'm forcing myself to do these things.
Yeah.
So, but when children, is it a good thing for children to know that they're autistic or not? And that's a nature nurture question almost, because had I known I was autistic, would I have been set aside and put a special school, not allowed to experience all the things I experienced, not allowed to fall down, pick myself up, and have that grit and determination to go on and do all the things that I've done that are positive, rather than just this negative stint in my life at the moment. But even in this, there's positivity to be found.
Yeah.
Would I have been able to do that? Or, when kids are identified, it is a gift, there's no doubt about it, and it's a curse.
I was going to ask, we've talked about some of the many negatives, so we've touched on some of them. Could we talk a bit about some of the positive? Because obviously high functioning autism is I think almost everybody would recognise it's a superpower.
Yeah.
It's an extra ability that most people don't have,
I have a problem being told I'm good at stuff.
Okay.
And I know, and it's not a big-headed thing, I recognise that I'm a very quick learner, and I'm good at most things I can be arsed with.
Yeah.
And that's all it's about it.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Apart
from chatting up birds. but that's why ickies were invented. Because you just needed to dance, baby, dance. Which I was always quite a good dancer as well. But I found myself very sweaty at the end of the night, but I still attracted some mates, so I've done alright. Yeah. But anyway, gifted-wise, it's about application, and I think that autism is very much a gift. Now, when I first was introduced to autism, working with autistic young people and things like that, for a sort of non-profit charity in Lanark, and to see some of these guys, I too had went, oh, that's autism. The guy's over in the corner smashing his fist off his face because he is stressed out or he's uncomfortable. And the social worker said, I'm saying, can nobody help this guy? No, you've just got to leave him. And so I need to, it's not a gift for everyone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you don't have the trauma, if you don't have the learning difficulties, which is silly because everyone with autism has learning differences, maybe not difficulties, but if you're not learning the way that everyone else in the class is learning, then it's a difficulty.
Yeah.
And I hated school. I hated it. I enjoyed certain classes, like I enjoyed maths, and I enjoyed physics. Technological studies were done, which was a lot of like electricity flow and energy and just stuff like that. And my dad was an engineer, so I had an interest in that sort of stuff. But I never wanted to work. from a very early age, I just thought, I don't want to work for a living.
Really?
Stuff that.
Okay.
Aye, so I went into sales because I thought I'll make a fortune doing sales, and I started chapping doors when I was 14, 15, selling cream and eggs and stuff like
Seriously?
that.
Oh,
yeah, and then onto chamois and ironboard covers and all that sort of stuff. And then moved on from there. I think I started to realise I was relatively clever when I got into construction, and more so into construction management and dealing with cranes and stuff like that. Built the Forth Road Bridge, the Queensferry Crossing.
You did the whole thing?
The whole thing by myself,
right.
Nobody else.
There we go.
All me.
That's got to be a superpower, yeah.
No, not at all. But and a lot of that was to do with me just forcing my way into things, because I don't like bullies. That's a big thing about autistic people. But regardless, going back to superpower stuff and high functioning things, I've got a relatively high IQ. Which I only found out again in the discovery to why I am who I am before I was diagnosed through all these silly tests that you do online. And I'd done an official IQ test one time just to find out, and that surprised me. But I just knew that I was quite open to learning differently from people. And I had very quick reactions, these things you get in your phone, brain training things. And I remember doing it when I had a squad of steel erectors at the time, and I remember sitting just at lunchtime, just my fingers were going, and the guy who worked for me was like, I don't think I've ever seen any of these fingers going as fast as that, because the raindrops are coming down and it's all maths, simple numbers, but the speed was surprising to me almost as well, because I was like, what do you mean? Can you not do this, that sort of thing? And unfortunately, over time, the trauma, and certainly a lot of trauma, what happened to me before I came in here, was so great that it reset my brain, and it took me back to almost a kid, in my brain, and I literally had to relearn balancing, relearning how to get my head to say the words with my mouth.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And I think that could have went two ways. I could have just went right into myself.
Yeah.
Certainly, this time in prison has helped me an awful lot. Maybe I don't know if that's a good thing to say or not, but it has. It's helped me because it's brought me back into this environment where there are people round about me, up in your class and in different classes doing poetry and things like that, and I'm using my brain and I'm trying to engage with people.
Yes.
Whereas before I came to prison, I wasn't. I was very much a recluse.
Really?
Yeah. I'd had enough of people.
Okay. I've never seen that.
That's,
you're definitely a different side.
I just had enough of it, and to the point you maybe think you're too clever for your own good, and you start to get a bit looky down the nose at people, things like that. And that's not who I am.
No.
But yeah, there's no doubt about it. About the business that I've got, about that single-handedly, really, and genuinely did. And a friend again went, I can't believe you do all of this yourself. This is like a team of 13 or 14 people that a company should have for that. And I'm thinking, but why? And this again was before I knew I was autistic. So these were all like red flags almost that should be flagging up. And not everyone who is autistic has a high IQ, but everyone who is autistic has the ability to think freely, which is why most people will get into trouble, because we will question all authority.
Yes.
Do this. Why?
Why?
Never mind why, because I'm telling you, but that's not logical. That doesn't make sense. I need you to tell me why. And if you tell me why and I believe you, then I'll do it more efficiently. And I'll be able to help you. Do you know what I mean? This is just the way the brain works. So autism...
That must be very difficult, actually.
That's why it's a curse as well as a gift. Because... You piss a lot of people off. And it depends where you are on the bravado scale, if you like, whether you enjoy that. I don't. I'm genuinely quite a humble person, and I'll try and keep like that, which is why I don't really get when people say, you're really good at that, you should do, oh, that's awesome. Earlier I told JP that show on Friday was fucking ace. I loved it. It was brilliant. The timing to mix the music together, because I just lay back, and if I can lie there for an hour and not flinch, then I know somebody's done a really good job.
JP's mixtape show available every night, 8 PM on Changewave Radio.
Brilliant.
But credit where credit's due. And
I find it really difficult to take compliments. It's a superpower I've got.
It is super.
5 minutes to stop that, or I'll give you another 10.
But yeah, so it is a curse and a gift. I've no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But again, if it's caught early enough, would it just be a gift? I don't know.
And that's the difficult thing, because it's now a moving target in that there's much better. Well, I was going to say there's much better treatment, but she said there's not that much help available.
There's zero help for adults,
right?
And they all know it.
Wow.
And literally, when you get your autism assessment, right, there you go, congratulations, you're autistic, well done, off you pop.
Right, yeah.
There's some numbers you can phone, and I tried to get in touch with someone, even at university, because I thought maybe they might be interested in what I'm doing business-wise and relating that to autism, and maybe doing some, keeping their eye on me. There's not, though. Nobody's really interested. They're interested in identifying kids, probably because they can turn them into a weapon. You know, because if you catch kids early enough, you can hone them, you can focus them, train them in this specific topic, and they will be code breakers. They will be, because for me in autism, I see things that are out of place. I notice when something's not right. You know, you're not aware of everything, and all of a sudden you see something that's upside down, or you hear somebody saying something that contradicts what they said 3 weeks ago. In a meaningless conversation that nobody was listening to, but you have still got it lodged in your brain. So you can say, but that's not what you said last week. And they'll go, what? Because that's the neurons that store all that stuff to normal neurotypical people. They have been trimmed back in their late 20s so that the noise isn't as much, so you can function as a human being. Whereas autistic people have all the noise constantly, and it's constant. The movies that you're seeing in your head, the flashbacks, looking forward, playing things out. You know, you're coming to do something next week. That's all you can think about, and you can see yourself acting it out, practicing almost in your brain. You know, it's quite disconcerting. But there's very little help for adults, and that's recognised amongst the professionals, because as I said, I used to work with some of them, and I asked them a lot of these questions, what sort of help's available, this and that, and unfortunately there isn't. And now, as I said, since Prince William asked or said that he thinks it's a good idea that everyone gets an autism assessment, well, that just opened the floodgates, and literally every parent was then thinking, you know, every kid that's playing up, they must be autistic. And that, maybe we'll get help for the government for this, maybe we'll get help for the government for that. And it's absolutely choked the system. So there are an awful lot of autistic adults who are not getting the help that they really truly need. And many people are getting misdiagnosed as well. And since I've come in here, I've identified so many people.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. So two questions. One is going to be... is it helpful to identify other people? Because you're not claiming you're a psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever, but you can see some of the traits.
Yep.
And I've seen it happen, and I've thought, that's interesting. For everyone to be reflective about it, but not to become obsessed about getting a label, I suppose.
Yep.
But then separate to that is, how many people do you think out of 100 people in prison and outside of prison, how many would you think would be, say, let's say neurodiverse in some way or another?
Autistic-wise, the last decent number I heard was like 1 in 40, and they think it's coming down all the time, because there are more people now honing in on discovering it. There are more people putting themselves forward, whereas 30, 40 years ago, if you felt like a weirdo, you just stayed being a weirdo, and you just became a weirdo on your own. Do you know what I mean? Now it's becoming more acceptable. You know, people aren't frightened to say that I feel different, so people are getting looked into and whatnot. In the prison system at the moment, I was speaking to one of the nurses a while back, and I had heard probably 60%, and she actually had said it's probably more likely to be 1 in 80. 80%.
80%.
So 80% in prison or above. which is a really, really high figure.
Yeah.
But the more I speak to people, and the more that I do identify certain traits in people, we're all a little bit like this, we're all a little bit like that. But then there's the extreme, and the extreme is, it's 1 to 10, somebody's a little bit like this. Well, autism's up to 100. That's why I say 0, bang, 100, so few in between. Because you're either on or you're off.
Okay.
And there's, that's the difference between it. And I think to see and hear so many different stories in here, and for me to be sitting analysing people all the time, as I'm just being friendly and hearing their stories and listening to what's happened to them, how they've reacted, how they're telling me what they're doing, how they act. Seeing people down here that only want to sing, that continually tell you the same story. These are all, they only want to talk about themselves, really. These are all little traits, so I clock a lot of them, and I hope that I've helped a number of people by pointing them in the right direction, not to diagnose them, but certainly to point them towards a book in the library that they might be able to read and then have a wee think to themselves, do you know what, I'm a bit like that.
Is there good literature out there that you'd recommend? Or YouTube videos?
There's a guy called... is it Orion? I can't mind his name yet.
Okay.
I feel like I've just forgotten loads of folks' names. There's a guy, he's an Australian guy, and he was identified because his son was diagnosed, and he's in media, and he does a really good show. He's an excellent advocate for the autistic community. He looks into all the forums and the reports and the stuff that the government are bringing in, and the DISCO, whatever is the DISCO test.
Okay.
And they're always updating that.
What's that?
I'm trying to remember what it's called. I need to come back to you on that.
Yeah.
That's my brain right now. Is there's a wee guy ringing about all these open doors in my head, trying to think what it is.
We could add that in. That's fine. Yeah,
I think it's Ryan Kelly.
Right.
I think it's he's got a book
specifically about autism, or
Autism and Me, or something like that. But that was one of the first books that I bought, and it really helped me to understand that it's okay.
Yes.
That what's wrong with me? Nothing.
Yeah.
You're just different.
Yeah.
It's like equating having an Android phone and an Apple phone.
Yes.
It's two different operating systems. They will have difficulties operating together.
Yeah.
But they're still doing the same job.
Yes.
They're still doing, but they're just doing it differently.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's probably the best way to understand autism. My friend autism, maybe that's what it's. Well, there's loads of people out there.
Yeah.
And more often than not, if you just search on YouTube for autism or adult, there's a guy, it's called it's the autistic adult, adult with autism, and I email him back and forth and whatnot, and he's a decent guy. He's in construction, he's in safety, and to look at and to listen to, you wouldn't think there was anything different about him until he starts to tell you all of his difficulties. Being in meetings, and sitting in his hands and whatnot, and trying to pick up on all these non-verbal communications that are going on in and around a boardroom where everyone else is getting the message and he's not, and then he's going away and he's devastated, and that maybe take you 2 or 3 days to get over, whereas everyone else is just getting on with their life, and then come the weekend you're actually just having to rebalance yourself, because everything in the working week's just been too much for you, and that's what's called going into a shutdown or a meltdown, which can be quite devastating.
See the stuff that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Do you see any of your behaviour in it, Steve?
I wonder some of it. Certainly the hyper focus stuff. When I get into something, I can really get into it, and
Like this morning, we were talking about, or the other day, we were talking about that prison thing, the chief of
inspector,
prison, and it was just an off-the-cuff conversation, and then you went away and printed all that shit out.
Yeah.
And you've done that about 100 times with me, no?
Yeah.
and it's good, but it's dead thorough, no?
Because I see it as like, that's a really useful thing to know about, yeah.
Or like when you, maybe we're sitting conversating with something, you'll pick up on something, and then you're away down a rabbit hole, and I'm like, he's thinking, was that 1985, that tune was it 1984? And you could say anything after it, and you're still thinking about the 1984 or 1985.
Yeah, so
it's crazy, that, isn't it?
Yeah. And I have had phases of hyperactivity as well, where I've really been intense about what I'm doing and nothing would get in the way of it, type thing. Yeah. So, but I could also be very easily distracted. So, is that a butterfly through that window? So yeah, it's a strange mix of things. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, quite possibly. Yeah. So,
and again, one way to cope with that is substance abuse.
Definitely.
Because when you're hyper focused all the time, your brain's knackered.
Yeah, you just want
you're knackered, and you just
switch it off,
want to switch off, and you just want to feel normal. And all of a sudden, a couple of drinks, and then you're the life and soul of the party, and people are enjoying your company, whereas maybe you were feeling and literally feeling it that they weren't enjoying your company for whatever reason. But after a couple of drinks, it just seemed to bring you down and lighten you up. And I think that's why so many people end up as alcoholics or drug addicts, because they have a neurodivergence that has not been identified.
God will never leave us, but be sure we'll be with God. For those repentant sinners, He gave the undeserving heart. His mercy has endured us, and His grace has cleansed us. Oh, the Lord my God, my Savior, Jesus Christ will call us home. The end of grace upon us, time of trouble almost here. Tried my best to warn you, things explained to ye through fear. The light has to the weary, the foghorn to the blind. The Lord my God, my Savior, Jesus Christ is truth to find. Show us the way, show us the way. My heart is in my mouth and it just don't know what to say. Show us the way, show us the way. Come back today, oh Lord, take us away. The great deception stumbles over male and female both. How long we have been here on earth, how little we are worth. Spaceships and fallen angels blur the lines between the veil. The Lord my God, my Savior, Jesus Christ, we all will hail. Show us the way, show us the way. My heart is in my mouth and it just don't know what to say. Show us the way, show us the way. Come back today, oh Lord, take us away. My soul on the cross, the mission it is done. He left his home in heaven, save the lost to hear his call. The Lord my God, my Savior, Jesus Christ will save us all. Show us the way,
take us away. Capaldi's got Tourette's.
Yes, yeah.
And
So, yeah.
you know, that must have been quite an eye opener for him. And he talks about his depression and his being frightened to go on stage. Robbie Williams, you know, a lot of these people will talk about it. Robin Williams was probably autistic because he was so sharp and so funny, but yet he was such a recluse.
Yeah.
You know, and eventually he took his own life because the manic depression and the what you look at isn't what I am.
No.
It's what I'm projecting to you, because monkey see, monkey do, monkey make money, right? And then all of a sudden, this is you. And Robbie Williams will say the same. All of a sudden, he is Robbie Williams, and that's why his movie, you know, it's the wee chimp. You know, it's a wee chimp that plays him the whole time. Yeah. And, you know, there's a lot of thought going into that. You know, the persona that he's just become, and it's not who he is. And to break free of that maybe is just too challenging for people sometimes. If this country had allowed handguns, I wouldn't be here. And I don't say that, it's not to dramatise suicide, but it's something that we should be aware of. At the moment, it's the number one killer for guys under 45 or 50 in this country, because of the social pressures, the anxiety and whatnot. And if you add into that trauma, which pretty much everybody's been through trauma of some sort, so if you've not, then good on you, well done. There's a Blue Peter badge. But, you know, with trauma as well as neurodivergence, that's a real big clusterfuck waiting to happen there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of your best quotes that I heard was when you were talking to me and you said, actually, if we spent more time helping people to understand autism, ADHD and trauma and the like, then actually a lot of the problems with alcohol and drugs would possibly be certainly reduced. Yeah, so a lot of the problems and downsides of it could be reduced.
People would be able to accept themselves better, and if they can accept themselves for who they are, then they can integrate into society better. And if you can integrate into society better, you're less likely to break the law, you're less likely to be thrill-seeking. I'll do it. Who wants to, come on, we'll do this, I'll do it, just to be accepted. And then we all end up in prison, and then what happens is there's no escape for that then, because you're in that loop then. Very difficult to break free from. JP, I would never have known, I would never have believed that I was autistic until they diagnosed me, and I went, wow, right now I'm going to really need to learn more about autism and learn about the triggers and learn about giving myself time to recuperate, because there are times where I won't come out my cell and folk are by thinking I'm just a weirdo now. They just know that I've just played 7 sets of table tennis and I've had a lot out in the hall. There's a lot of noise. I've got earmuffs on most of the time. I'm trying to bring my noises down, the big bangs, the echoes, because these are all things that take up a lot of energy in my brain. And if I don't go and lie down, then I'll go into a shutdown. And these can last for weeks, and during all the stress of the trial and all the rest of it, there was times that I was in my bed and under the covers for like a week, and that's when you can't make yourself food. That's when you lose all cognitive behaviours. You're not at the best. You're brushing your teeth. You're not going for a shower every day because it's shutting down. That's right. It is doing exactly that. Exactly what it says in the tin.
Right, Stevie, tell him to stop talking.
Well, that's almost an hour and a half of chats, which we will edit down. We'll reduce down.
And we could go on all day.
Well, I've got sweets in my mouth. Sorry.
An hour and a half. Is that all?
You can't wrap that up in a big mouth of sweets.
Sorry.
Such an amateur conversation at an hour and a half. Did you not want to go deep?
Body.
Ian Rogers, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Cheers.